When I heard that we're going to remove a member of this House from their committee for anti-Semitism, I raced down here because I thought, finally, in this chamber, there's going to be some accountability from this conference that continues to allow its members to root for rioters, a conference that harbors a wanted international criminal and has members who choose violence over voting every single day, finally. And so I thought, we're going to hold someone accountable. Surely it's the author of this tweet. So surely this tweet came down, right? Came down, was deleted. No, 2 more months it was kept up. 2 more months. So don't come here looking at us for anti-Semitism. Look in your own mirror.
Point to you, draw a line and say, that's not a U.S. president. Okay. That's just the prime minister of Russia defending the president of Russia. What point do you say
think that the president is more loyal to Russia than the United? I mean, I guess I would just remind you that you're a member of Congress. You're not supposed to talk like a child or make reckless accusations or say things you don't understand or encourage people to commit violence. No, I'm just shocked that you're talking like this. I mean, you don't like the president because you think he's irresponsible.
Do you want it to be led by somebody who is siding with the Russians over the United States?
Settle down, son. I'm older than you are. Don't call into question my love of the country, please.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about a pretty epic moment, a hilarious moment that happened during the House's Homeland Security Committee hearing that made the Democrats basically get upset, right? Because when are the Democrats not upset, okay? As Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to call out Eric Swalwell for something that we all know that happened to him or that he did in the past, okay? He allowed a Chinese spy to infiltrate his campaign and bang the Chinese spy, okay, allegedly. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually going to say this out loud after Eric Swalwell finishes questioning Alejandro Mayorkas on anti-Semitism, right? Anti-Semitism, okay? Instead of actually talking about the real problems in this country, which is the border, right? The current invasion that's happening on the border. This guy is quite literally going to talk about anti-Semitism. Nonsense, right? And Marjorie Taylor Greene is basically going to respond perfectly to this nonsense. And again, it's just absolutely hilarious. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it.
I also want to ask, is anti-Semitism on the rise in America, Mr. Secretary?
Congressman, yes, it is.
And are we seeing increases in violence toward Jewish Americans?
Congressman, yes, we are, and we are seeing that for other minority groups as well.
And so when an influencer like Kanye West, who has millions of followers on social media, says that he's going to declare DEFCON 3 on the Jews, do you think that increases threats to Jewish Americans or decreases threats?
Words like that increase the threat to minority groups, Congressman.
And wow, incredible stuff, man. You know, again, for Democrats complaining so much about Republicans wasting time with these hearings, they sure do waste a lot of time asking silly, stupid questions in these hearings, right? About, oh my God, this word cause violence, right? When it's like, bro, who's attacking Jewish people? I don't think anybody's attacking Jewish people. We went through this whole thing with Kanye, and I don't think we've actually really seen any real types of violence as a result of anything that Kanye said, right? But Democrats are harping on this, okay? But they have nothing to say about all the rhetoric that they put out there about transgender people being under attack and their lives being in danger because kids can't castrate themselves. And then you turn around and you have acts of violence that are being committed by transgender people. They have nothing to say about that, okay? We had an insurrection that happened at the Tennessee state capitol, and the Democrats have nothing to say about it. Nobody's talking about, well, is the rhetoric on the left, is it, you know, too much? Is it actually causing violence? Again, it's just absolutely amazing. This right here, right? Like, this line of questioning is such a waste of time. But I will say this. You notice how Alejandro Mayorkas here, he can answer questions from Democrats, silly questions like this. But he can't seem to answer questions when the GOP ask him questions about the border or anything that has to do with his actual main job, okay? Which is, again, protecting the border. Can't answer questions about that, but he can answer questions about this silly stuff. Again, it's just amazing.
That's why it surprises me that the chairman of the Judiciary Committee tweeted out, Kanye, Elon Trump. Well, we know what Trump thinks about law enforcement and what is happening in law enforcement right now with targets on their back. But this tweet was kept up for months after Kanye West said that he was going to declare DEFCON 3 on the Jews. Mr. Secretary, do you believe that all of us have a responsibility to elevate our rhetoric and to denounce anti-Semitism and anti-police rhetoric in this country so that Jewish Americans and police officers can be safer?
Congressman, I do.
Thank you, and I yield back.
Again, absolutely amazing, right? Absolutely amazing that this man is sitting here pretending that he cares about anti-police rhetoric, right? When his party was supporting defunding the police, okay? They still support defunding the police. They just call it reallocating resources because they know that defunding police doesn't poll well. Again, just absolutely amazing. And this idiot right here, right, for once in his life actually answers a question straight with a yes or no. Amazing.
The gentleman yields, and now I recognize the gentlelady from Georgia, Ms. Greene.
That was quite entertaining from someone that had a sexual relationship with a Chinese spy, and everyone knows it. But
I move to take her words down.
Facts, right? I mean, what did she say was incorrect? The things that she just said was more factual than anything that Eric Swalwell just said, okay? Any of his line of questions, anything he just said, she just said was more factual, right? Again, this is why, normally I would say this is inappropriate, but just considering the line of questioning that happened before she made that statement, right? I think it's totally appropriate to bring up a fact, right? It's a fact. It's an absolute fact because everybody knows that this guy bang, fang, fang, right? He bang, bang, fang, fang. He ate that shrimp fried rice. He ate that lo mein, okay? He probably put some white sauce in it too, right? Because he's reckless like that. Everybody knows that he put his chopsticks in that stir fry, right? He gets lo mein with sweet and sour sauce, right? Because sometimes Fang Fang, she got a little bit, too much soy sauce going on around there, right? A little salty. So, like I said, he got to get some sweet and sour sauce to balance it out. So, again, it's just hilarious because they're going to act like they never heard this before, right? I've never heard this before in my life. What are you talking about? It's like, dude, come on. Like, you're a national security risk. You are a national security risk, okay? It's just so hilarious because this is a meeting on the Department of Homeland Security, okay? And again, this guy, Eric Swalwell, he's so reckless that again, he might be a liability to the Homeland Security. We just had a story that came out about Chinese folks, right, running their own fake police station in New York City.
Yeah, we just stepped out of court, Adam, moments ago. Federal law enforcement officials saying these arrests are the first of their kind in the world in connection with the Chinese government overseas police stations. Sitting on Broadway in the middle of Manhattan's Chinatown, this building, a place where federal law enforcement allege a dark secret was taking place on American soil.
An entire floor of this building hosted an undeclared police station of the Chinese National Police.
United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, Breon Peace.
New York City is home to New York's finest, the NYPD. We don't need or want a secret police station in our great city.
3 separate criminal complaints unveiled today, alleging China's work to intimidate and harass Chinese dissidents from speaking out against their former country, which
shed further light on the extent of the PRC government's efforts to project its authoritarian worldview on the residents of this city and this country.
A shameless scheme directed by the Chinese government's Ministry of Public Security, their National Police Service.
The FBI also talking about 2 other cases where Americans were harassed online on behalf of the Chinese government for speaking out about China.
The Chinese Communist Party was attempting to censor politically sensitive topics that are unacceptable to the PRC government, including the Tiananmen Square massacre.
Back to Broadway and the alleged secret police station that allegedly provided services, helping people renew their Chinese driver's licenses, but also track down at least one outspoken critic of China who was living in California.
The Chinese National Police appear to have been using the station to track a U.S. resident on U.S. soil.
We are focused on the actions of the Chinese Communist Party and its officers, not the Chinese people or those of Chinese descent.
If convicted, both men could spend up to 20 years in prison. We're live in downtown Brooklyn. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't think what MTG here is saying is really that out of line, okay? I'm just saying.
Completely inappropriate. Yeah, stand by just a second while we research the rule. Give me just a second.
I need to make sure I have my full 5 minutes.
A motion has been made. The gentleman will, the committee will suspend, and the gentleman will state the words that he wishes taken down.
Everything that the gentlelady from Georgia has said.
No, you need to be more specific.
The accusations of an affair with a Chinese spy. Those are engaging in personalities, and those words should be taken down, and the gentlelady should not be able to speak anymore in this hearing.
Wow, imagine taking down the truth, right?
That is not the latter part of that is not an appropriate motion, but we will evaluate the striking of those words. Give me just a second.
Let's take down the truth. Take the truth out of congressional records, right? Absolutely insane.
The chair recognizes the gentlelady from Georgia and asks if she would like to retract those words.
No, I will not.
Hey, say what you want about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but she be based. Okay, she don't care. She got cojones.
For those members who are wondering, we are looking into Rule Clause 1 of Rule 17 and the rules of the House. Words that were spoken are not going to be stricken from the record.
And of course, you know that the Democrats had an absolute meltdown over this result. Take a look.
I don't think there's any question about what the gentlelady said. I've been on this committee from day one. We've never had an accusation made of any member like that. And I'm appalled at it. We all ought to be embarrassed at it. We are a better committee than what the gentlelady is trying to make of this committee. So I appeal the ruling of the chair.
The ruling of the chair has been appealed.
And that's not the only meltdown that this Democrat had. He also proceeded to have a meltdown after Marjorie Taylor Greene went in on Alejandro Mayorkas with real questions about what's going on at the border. Take a look.
Georgia is recognized, and we will give her the time. The clock was stopped, and we'll give you an extra 10 or 15 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Mayorkas, since you have been in charge of the Department of Homeland Security, there have been 0 miles of border wall added. There have been over 5.5 million illegal alien encounters at our border, 1.3 million known gotaways, and approximately 870% increase in apprehensions in just one sector of the northern border. American mothers and infants suffered a severe baby formula shortage, all while this administration was happily stocking the shelves for illegal aliens at one of the largest processing centers in the country. American mothers were forced to delay inductions at the Yuma Regional Medical Center because of your policies. They have flooded their maternity unit with illegal aliens. Tens of thousands of migrant children have been forced into slave labor in our country because of your policies. At least 853 dead migrants and counting, the most ever in a 12-month period, died trying to cross the southern border in 2022. And now there are over 300 Americans a day dying every single day, without fail, every single day because of fentanyl, deadly fentanyl, which is the #1 cause of death in young people between ages 18 and 45. Now we have rainbow fentanyl, which even NBC News was acknowledging that the cartels were bringing across our border, and it comes from China. This rainbow fentanyl looks like Sweet Tarts or Skittles clearly made to target America's school children. It's 50 times more potent than heroin, 100 times more potent than morphine. And now, under your tenure, Secretary Mayorkas, schools all over America have to have Narcan to save children that overdose on this deadly poison. Let me explain something to you. I'm not from Texas. I'm not from any border state. I represent a district in Georgia, which is in northwest Georgia. We're not anywhere near Mexico. We're not anywhere near the ocean. But in my district, people die nearly every single day from fentanyl. And I want to know from you, how many more people do we have to watch die every single day in America? How many more young people do we have to see die? How many more teenagers? How many more parents cry themselves to sleep at night, if they can even sleep, because their child overdosed on fentanyl? How long are you going to continue this outrage, complete outrage, where China is poisoning America's children, poisoning our teenagers, poisoning our young people? How long are you going to let this go on?
Congresswoman, let me assure you that we're not letting it go on. We are fighting this.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar. You are letting this go on, and the numbers prove it. You can't lie about the facts, Secretary Mayorkas. While you live in denial and sit over there with this attitude that you're doing everything right, you are killing Americans with your policies. And that is a fact. Your policies are killing people, over 300 Americans a day, over 300, and it's outrageous. Let me ask you another question. We talk about terror.
The ranking member is recognized.
You know, we can disagree, but just the fact that we have people watching, you don't have to call a witness a liar. And I just...
Excuse me, does the ranking member have a point of order?
Well,
no,
actually, I want you to take the words of the speaker down.
Yeah, again, these guys, this guy in particular that's boo-hoo whining and complaining. Yeah, he was the chair of the January 6th committee, in which you had these Democrats withhold evidence from the American people. Okay, people told lies, right? And now they want to boo-hoo whine and cry about Marjorie Taylor Greene telling the truth, doing a hearing on Homeland Security, right? And having a guy like Eric Swalwell be a part of that is really, really, really a disgrace, right? That is actually an embarrassment for this guy to be questioning anybody at all, considering his history and the fact that, again, this guy is actively a risk to Homeland Security, right? Because he's so reckless. He loves shrimp fried rice too much. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.